Welcome back, everyone. As you probably guessed from the title of the video, this is what we're going over today. This is the Henry Big Boy X. We have two of these. This one here chambered in 357 Magnum / 38 Special, and then we also have the 45 Long Colt version as well. You guys will see footage of each throughout the video. But what the heck is it? Well, it's a gun that's been out for over a year now. And actually, initially, when it first came out, it was just 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum / Special, and then 45 Long Colt. It has since expanded into their rifle calibers as well, so 30-30 as well as 45-70. So there's a number of different options for them. But the problem is, when it was first released, and why I'm only doing this video now, is that they were either always sold out, you could never get them, or the price that was being asked by the retailer was north of the MSRP. That has finally stopped. That has finally calmed down, and you can actually get these now at a reasonable price, which is why I decided to bring the video to you guys today. So again, like we said, we have this guy here, chambered in 357 Magnum, and then we have our 45 Long Colt version here. And basically just we'll go over the basics of it. Then we're gonna head back out to the range, test the accuracy, those sorts of things. And again, that's what we're gonna do today. So out here at the end, it is threaded, obviously, because we have the cans on there. I believe all of the pistol-ish calibers are threaded for 5/8 by 24. So there are a ton of suppressors and ton of different mounts that will work on there. I believe, again, the pistol caliber versions or the revolver caliber versions, if you will, all have a barrel that's just under 18 inches. I think it's like 17.4 inches. So you're gonna get plenty of velocity on there. And that also gives you the ability to have extra capacity in the magazine, which of course on a lever action rifle for the new folks runs underneath the barrel. So if this was like a 16-inch barrel, for example, you're probably gonna lose a round in 357 Magnum. Same is true in a lot of calibers. This one here with 357 Magnum loads is gonna get 7 in the tube and 1 in the chamber. With 38 Special, you get an extra 1 in the tube there, so 8 plus 1. Just kind of depends what you want to do with it and what you're looking for performance-wise and recoil-wise, all those sorts of things. But that is one of the cool things about this rifle, this particular one here, is that the 38 Specials, pretty much all of those are going to be subsonic coming out of this. So with the suppressor, they are very, very quiet because you have a sealed action with the lever action rifle. So we also have our magazine, traditional Henry magazine loading capability. However, with the suppressor on there, you're not going to be able to actually get it off. So that's when, see, as you guys can see there, so that's when the newish side gates that Henry has been running for the past couple of years now really come into play for the tactical type of use. You can load through the side gate, which is awesome. One thing that's also nice about having both the tube loading and the side loading, is that if you want to unload your rifle, you don't have to cycle through all of your rounds coming out of the mag like you would if you didn't have that tube on there. So it really is kind of the best of both worlds in terms of the loading systems available for the gun. Continuing on back, we do have our handguard on there, which has M-lock slots at the 3 and 9 o'clock position, then also has a 1913 rail there on the bottom. Then it also has a spot there for either a sling mount or a bipod mount. If you have a traditional bipod mount, it will work on there, as well as a traditional sling mount will as well. Sights on this guy are going to be fiber optic. They are technically, I guess, still buckhorn sights. However, because they're fiber optic, it kind of functions more like a traditional pistol sight where you're just lining up the dots. The front one there is green, and it is protected with that steel shroud around it, which is nice. Haven't had it come out or anything like that. And then the rear one also is going to be protected across the top as well. Fiber optic sights, all of them eventually will break, but if you can protect it, why not? Your rear sight there is adjustable for windage as well as elevation when you are zeroing it. And our receivers are going to be drilled and tapped, so that way you can put a rail on there. Of course, on this one we did. And we've been running the Swamp Fox green dot optic on there. And I suppose with that, that's the basics of the rifle, at least before we get to the receiver. So let's pause here, head out to the range, put down a few groups, see how it performs accuracy-wise. Now we're going to see what kind of groups we can get with this little carbine here. Obviously a magnified optic would help, but a lot of PCC type guns I do shoot with red dots for groups. But because we have a red dot on there, and because it is a pistol caliber cartridge, we just have the target downrange at 50 yards. And with that, first load up in the gun right here is some 158 grain lead round nose here from Federal, the American Eagle. And the optic itself is a Swamp Fox optics. And we have a Bowers Group silencer out there at the end. These should be stupid quiet. One way to find out. And we have a CTK Precision Rest on there. Surefire little Micro Scout on there as well. Let's knock it out. That's actually an interesting group. So it was actually zeroed with 125 grain, 38 specials. And it's just kind of interesting to see where they're actually hitting. Obviously, you guys have the benefit of having the close-up, but totally different point of impact. So I was spot on with the 125 grainers, but looks like we moved a little low left with the 158 grain lead nose. That's why you always test things out, kids. Next load up is going to be some Federal. This is the Swift A-frame 180 grain. For those who have watched here on the channel, I use this a lot in ballistic testing because it's a spicy little round. So ballistic plate testing and stuff like that. So we'll load it up here, but obviously it's a jacketed hollow point and in 357, so it's a lot hotter. It should be noticeably a little bit more recoil if I could actually get it into the gate. Those lead nose went in a little bit cleaner. The jacketed hollow point probably a better option for a little bit of self-defense, hunting, etc. type use. So we'll see how she does there. Let's go check them out. All right, so that first group up was those 158 grain 38 specials. Right here, certainly not a bad group. Basically on both of these, just to let you guys know my point of aim. Point of aim is right here, this lower right corner. And again, with 125 grain Federal as well, it was point of aim, point of impact. So it shifted right and low a little bit on me. And center to center right there, we're at 2 3/4 inches on that one. So roughly 5.5 MOA group. You guys know better than me. I think I loaded 5. I think I shot 5 with those 357s. So it looks like maybe one of those is 2 in one hole. But on that one, my point of aim was right there, and you guys can see my point of impact. So that's where I was holding, and that's where we got them. And right there, definitely tightened up. Center to center, we're just under 2 inches. So about 1 7/8 inches on that one with that group, so under 4 MOA. Again, if we added some magnified glass on there, it might tighten those up a little bit, but 50 yards, perfectly acceptable in my opinion with a red dot. Not mad about it at all. With the accuracy portion out of the way, let's talk about the action itself. Cycling is very, very smooth. It's not a large loop. I don't like large loops for me, just for why that is. If you have a large loop where the loop is kind of coming down here, when you start the action, a lot of times if you're running it hard, you end up smacking your hand. I understand there are techniques to avoid that. However, it's just not my natural technique, if you will. So I prefer a standard loop like this one. Trigger on this one is obviously excellent. Pretty much every lever action. If you don't have a really good trigger, you're doing something wrong. It's a single action, of course, once our hammer is back. And then it's going to break right around 4 pounds, which is excellent. So that is not going to hamper you in the accuracy department. And the hammer has a very aggressive texture on there. So if you wanted to load one in the chamber for, in this case, a 7+1 capacity, and then drop your hammer, I'm not recommending you do that at all. But I know some of you guys want to do that. So if you want to do that, that will give you a good grip on there when you are actually lowering it or when you're actually cocking it to fire. Continuing on to the loading gate there itself, mine was pretty stiff on both of these when I first got it, but I'd say after probably 50, maybe 100 rounds, it loosened up a good bit and it was much easier to load both of these. Traditionally, your revolver calibers are going to be a little bit harder than your rifle calibers just because the case is a little bit shorter in terms of length. So your 30-30, much easier to load than say a 45 Long Colt, but with a little bit of practice and working that thing a little bit, it becomes easier for sure. Continuing on back, of course, one thing I didn't mention when we were talking about the hammer is that it does have our traditional transfer bar safety on there, which certainly is nice for safe operation of a firearm. We have our long tang that comes down there, and then of course our stock. This is a synthetic stock, and then it has a nice rubber butt pad there on the back. In 357 Magnum or in 45 Long Colt, honestly, I really don't think it matters. There's just not a ton of recoil there with the weight of the gun. in the caliber that you are using. And then we also have another sling attachment point there on the rear. So you could easily rig up a 2-point sling on this rifle using the traditional sling attachment points, or of course you could also use the M-LOK slots if you want to go that route. And at this point in the video, I think you guys know everything you need to know about the rifles in terms of feature set. Let's talk about how they function. This gun right here, the 357 Magnum gun, has about 600 rounds through it, probably half and half 38 special versus 357 Magnum. One thing I will tell you is with 38 special, some of them anyway, depending on the actual ammo that you're loading, you have to rack it a little bit harder to make sure it actually comes out. That's just due to the shorter case length, because of course it is sized, if you will, for the longer case length. So you really need to rack it with some authority with 38 special to make sure that you are getting good cycling. But we didn't have any issues at all with it, but you can kind of feel it hang up if you don't really run it as hard as you want to, if that makes sense. 45 Long Colt, about 400 rounds through that one, no issues at all. I mean, it runs everything great on that one. What do I think of it overall? Cost, all of those sorts of things. You guys have already seen the accuracy. The cost on the guns right now are coming in right around, we don't do prices on YouTube anymore, but if you were to actually look, it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 units of measure, depending on where you live and depending on the sale that is going on right now. So for an American-made lever action rifle that has this feature set, ability to mount lights, suppressors, or muzzle devices for that matter, as well as optics, from what I've seen, it's the cheapest American-made version out there. There's plenty of other competitors. However, all of those are going to be north of 1,000 units of measure. So that certainly is a good thing. Henry has a long history of producing guns in America now, and they have a great history of good customer service as well. So I would say you can, generally speaking, buy Henrys with confidence. I have no problem saying that. Full disclosure on that. Henry did send these rifles out for the review. Now let's talk about some cons with these rifles. So this one actually doesn't have any cons. So one thing I always say here on the channel is that what you're getting here with me when I do a review of a gun or a light or whatever is that it's a sample size of 1, right? Well, in this case, we have a sample size of 2. So this gun didn't have any issues at all that I'm aware of anyway. Function, everything like that was fine. However, on this gun, which again, these guns were in the exact same conditions the entire time they came in together. They went to all the same ranges together. We had a couple issues on this guy here. So I should be rolling in some photos, but these guns have blued finishes, which is not the most durable finish in all fairness. That should be said. If it was a nitrided finish or a stainless finish or something like that, that's definitely a much more corrosion resistant finish. But this blued finish here, again, was basically at the range and then indoors in air conditioning or heating, depending on the season. And I think it kind of has more rust than I think is acceptable. I don't know if the finish just didn't go on right, didn't cure right. I don't know what it is. We should be rolling in some photos, and basically pretty much all of the blued parts have some spots of rust on there. Now, again, like I said, Henry has really good customer service. I'm sure they would fix it and re-blue it for me if I asked them to. But I think that is something to be concerned with on this gun. Just that finish, if it's maybe not consistent, could be an issue. Again, the 357 Magnum has no rust at all. Same condition, same everything. And then additionally, our rear sight here came out during use, not during shooting, but in transport, which was in a padded range case. So I'm not sure what happened there, but it just came out, unfortunately. Again, I know Henry would send one and it would be easy to just push it in with a pin, or a punch rather, I should say, but it's unfortunate to see. And again, I don't know if it's a sample size of 1 that is bad or a sample size of 1 that is good. You guys let me know if you guys have one of these down below in the comment section. Definitely would like to get more data points on it. But yeah, a couple issues with this guy. Nothing horrible, like it fed every time. It didn't, have an out of battery discharge, nothing like that. But those are a couple things that I would like to see cleaned up in the future. Now, one thing I should note that right now, as of when I'm filming this video, about 2 weeks ago, Henry announced that they are coming out with a new line of lever action rifles in this series, but using a different barrel. I believe they're using a carbon fiber barrel on that one to save weight. So obviously that one's not going to have any issues with rusting on the bluing. But one thing I'd like to see Henry do in the future, if they're taking suggestions, is to make a gun like this in terms of this handguard, this stock, these sights, but do it in their all-weather finish. That would be sick with the threaded barrel. They already do that, sort of, but not with this handguard and not with the threaded barrel. I would do that because then you have sort of the best of both worlds. So you don't have to worry at all about any type of finish issues. Very durable, very corrosion resistant on that all-weather rifle, but has the versions, or tactical features, if you will, of this rifle. So I think with that, guys, that's pretty much all I have for you today with these 2 rifles. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can always post those down below in the comment section. If you guys like this type of video and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button if I could talk. And if you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, you probably know that we are heavily censored on many platforms. If you guys want to help avoid that type of censorship and get around it, if you will, you can sign up for the email at the website here on your screen. This will get you put on 2 different email lists. One of them goes out once a month, and it just has all the videos since my previous month's email went out. So that way there's no big tech giant censoring your eyes from my content. It'll also get you put on the daily deals email list. So that way, if anything, whatever the item is, whether it's a rifle, a light like this cool little Surefire light here, optic, ammo, anything like that, if it's the cheapest that I know of anywhere on the internet on that day, it will go in the daily deals email. So that way it saves you guys some time and some money because I've already done the price comparisons for you. Additionally, there's a good meme in there that a lot of people like. So you can sign up for that if you just want to see the memes. I'm good with it. Additionally, we have an SMS service that you guys can check out as well at the website here. This goes out at most once a day, but not even every day. And it typically has either the best deal that I find on the internet in it, or it has the latest video that just dropped. So that way I can get it sent right into your inbox. So that way, once again, you get around the censorship of big tech. So that is it. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.